Welcome, spiritual seekers from Celestial Medium. Today we tell a timeless story, one that has sparked curiosity and reflection for thousands of years. For today we journey into the mind of the great philosopher Plato as we explore his famous Allegory of the Cave. Plato's famous Allegory of the Cave, written around 380 BCE, is one of the most important and influential passages of the Republic. It vividly illustrates a metaphor which philosophers have used for millennia to help us overcome superficiality and materialism in an attempt to be enlightened. In this dialogue, Socrates explains to Plato's brother, Glaucon, that we all resemble captives who are chained deep within a cavern who do not yet realize that there is more to reality than the shadows they see against the wall. In Plato's Allegory of the cave represents the physical world, and the world outside the cave represents reality. The allegory uses symbols to illustrate the difference between reality and our interpretation of it, and how people can be trapped in their own ignorance. This tale is a cornerstone of Western philosophy, offering profound insights into human perception, knowledge, and the path to enlightenment. So, sit back, relax, and let your imagination guide you into the depths of the cave. And now, Glaucus, allow me to draw a comparison in order to understand the effect of knowledge or the lack thereof upon our nature. Picture a dark, subterranean cave, partially open to the light. Inside this cave, a group of prisoners has been held captive since birth. They are chained in fetters in such a way that they can only face the wall in front of them. Picture further the light from a fire burning higher up at a distance behind them, casting light throughout the cave. Between this fire and the captives, a low partition is erected along a path, something like puppeteers use to conceal themselves during their shows. Look, and you will also see other people carrying objects back and forth along the partition, things of every kind. Images of people and animals, carved in stone and wood and other materials. Some of these other people speak while others remain silent. The sound echoes throughout the cave. The shadows cast on the wall in front of them from the people above are all they know, for it is all they have ever seen. Undoubtedly, such captives would consider the truth to be nothing but the shadows. To the prisoners, these shadows are their reality. The sounds echoing in the cave reinforce their belief that the shadows are all there is to life. They discuss the shadows, name them, and construct a shared understanding of their world. But now, think about what would happen if one of the prisoners escaped from these chains and these misconceptions. He immediately stands up and bends his neck around to take steps to gaze up toward the fire. His eyes hurt as he turns toward the fire and sees the source of the shadows. At first, he is bewildered. The glare from the light made him unable to see the shadows he once beheld. His initial reaction is one of disbelief. He cannot fathom that the shadows are not the full extent of reality. Would he, rather, believe that the shadows he formerly knew were more real than the objects now being shown to him? As the prisoner's eyes adjust, he begins to see the figures moving behind the fire. He notices how the shapes cast their shadows on the wall and realizes that what he once believed to be real is nothing more than an illusion. What do you think his reaction would be if someone informed him that everything he had formerly known was illusion and delusion, and that now he was a few steps closer to reality and able to see more truly? This understanding is unsettling. He feels a mix of confusion and exhilaration, a sense of loss for his old world, but also a growing curiosity about the truth. But his journey does not stop here. With effort and guidance, the prisoner is led out of the cave. The ascent was arduous. His eyes, unaccustomed to the brightness, are overwhelmed by the light. The sun outside the cave blinds him at first, and he can only discern blurry shadows and reflections on the surface of a pond. It would take time for him to get used to seeing higher things. In the beginning, he might only trace the shadows, then reflections of people and other things in the water. Next, he would come to see the things themselves. Then he would behold the heavenly bodies and the heaven itself by night, seeing the light of the stars and the moon with greater ease than the sun and its light by day. Over time, the prisoner's vision sharpens. He begins to see the vivid details of the natural world, trees swaying in the breeze, the vibrant colors of flowers, and the endless expanse of the sky. Finally, he gazes directly at the sun itself, neither as reflected in water nor as a phantom image in some other place, but in its own place as it really is. And now he will begin to reason. He will find that the sun is the source for the seasons and the years and governor of every visible thing, and is ultimately the origin of everything previously known. He realizes it is the ultimate source of light, life, and truth. This revelation is profound. For the first time, he understands the interconnectedness of everything and the falsehood of the shadows that once defined his existence. Yet, his newfound enlightenment fills him with a sense of duty. He feels compelled to return to the cave to free the others and share the truth. But as he re-enters the darkness, he struggles to see as clearly as before. His disorientation makes him appear weak and confused to the prisoners, who are still chained and facing the wall. When the freed prisoner speaks of the world outside the cave, the prisoners laugh at him. They mock his descriptions of sunlight and trees, insisting that the shadows they see are the only reality. Some grow angry, fearing his words threaten the stability of their familiar world. To them, his journey seems foolish and his enlightenment dangerous. You must understand me. Connect the freedman's ascent to be the ascent of the soul to the intelligible world. It appears to me that in the realm of what can be known, the idea of the good is discovered last of all, and it is only perceived with great difficulty. But when it is seen, it leads us directly to the finding that it is the universal cause of all that is right and beautiful. It is the source of visible light and the master of the same and in the intelligible world. It is the master of truth and reason. And whoever, in private or in public, would behave in a sensible way, will keep this idea in mind. Stay with me then for another thought. We should not be surprised that individuals who have reached this level of knowledge might be unwilling to spend their time on mundane affairs. For would it not be that their souls always feel a calling to the higher things? If our illustration holds true, that would seem quite likely. Now, would it be at all surprising for one who has been engaged in the contemplation of truth, when he ventures into ways of ignorant humanity, to appear ridiculous in his actions? What if, for example, while his eyes were still adjusting to the mundane gloom, he would be forced to appear in court to discourse about the mere shadows of justice, or the other shapes that flitted across the wall that he now knows to be illusory, and to engage in debate about such concepts with the minds of others who have never beheld the truth or ideal justice? But one who has his wits about him would remember that there are two things that pain the eyes: being brought from darkness to light and transitioning back from light to darkness. Now, considering that the soul experiences the same discomfort, this man would not make light of another when he met with a confused or ignorant soul. He would take the time to understand if that soul was coming from a luminous realm, and his eyes were blinded by darkness, or whether journeying from the darkness of ignorance into an illuminated state had overwhelmed his eyes. One he would consider fortunate, he would pity the other, and if he laughed at either, it would be less justified if he laughed at the expense of the one who was descending from the light above. One he would consider fortunate. Of course, if I'm correct, then some of us are mistaken, in their view that it is possible to implant knowledge into a person that wasn't there originally, like vision into the eyes of a blind man. What our message now signifies is that the ability and means of learning is already present in the soul, as the eye could not turn from darkness to light unless the whole body moved. So it is that the mind can only turn around from the world of becoming to that of being by a movement of the whole soul. The soul must gradually learn to endure the contemplation of being and the luminous realm of truth. For this is the good. Therefore, of this matter itself, there must be a craft of some kind, which would be a most efficient and effective means of transforming the soul. It would not be an art that gives the soul vision, but a craft at labor under the assumption that the soul has its own innate vision, but does not apply it properly. There must be some kind of means for bringing this about. Yes, such a craft must therefore exist. This concludes Plato's allegory of the cave. This allegory invites us to reflect on the nature of knowledge and the process of enlightenment. Through this allegory, Plato skillfully explores the concepts of illusions and reality, challenging us to question the nature of our existence and the world we perceive. The cave represents ignorance, a state where we accept shadows or half-truths as reality. The journey out of the cave symbolizes the pursuit of wisdom, a path that can be challenging, even painful, as it requires us to question long-held beliefs and venture into the unknown. The freed prisoner represents the enlightened individual who questions the illusions of life and seeks deeper understanding. The prisoner's journey outside the cave is analogous to the pursuit of wisdom and enlightenment. By leaving the familiar darkness behind, the enlightened individual gains access to a realm of light, truth, and understanding. This allegory compels us to question our perceptions, challenge conventional wisdom, and embark on a lifelong quest for knowledge. The ignorant prisoner's reaction to the freed man's return to the cave illustrates the resistance that often accompanies the unveiling of truth. It highlights the discomfort and cognitive dissonance that arise when long-held illusions are shattered, prompting individuals to cling to their familiar beliefs and resist change. In this allegory, the sun represents the ultimate truth and the understanding that light illuminates our lives. Enlightenment, however, comes with responsibility. As Plato suggests, those who attain it bear the burden of sharing their insights, even in the face of skepticism or hostility. The journey out of the cave represents the journey of the soul into the region of the intelligible. It shows how the path to enlightenment involves confronting uncomfortable truths and reevaluating one's beliefs. Plato's allegory of the cave is a story about the journey from ignorance to enlightenment. It's a metaphor for how people can only perceive a distorted version of reality through their senses. The allegory also explores the role of education and knowledge in creating a just society. In an era of misinformation, social media echo chambers, and ideological polarization, the allegory serves as a reminder of the importance of critical thinking, open-mindedness, and the pursuit of truth. It challenges us to question the illusions we encounter and seek deeper understanding beyond the shadows projected by society. Toward the end of the allegory, Plato discusses the need to look within for the truth, not outside of us. He states, the soul must gradually learn to endure the contemplation of being and the luminous realm of truth, meaning, silence, contemplation, and meditation. Finding the truth within means to embark on a personal journey of self-reflection and introspection to discover your authentic self, values, and beliefs, essentially uncovering what is truly important to you at your core. This is done by examining and challenging pre-existing assumptions and societal influences to live a life aligned with your genuine identity. Some key aspects of finding the truth within are self-awareness, which includes paying close attention to your thoughts, emotions, and reactions to understand how they influence your behavior and perceptions. Honest self-assessment, which means examining your beliefs and motivations without judgment to identify areas where you might be holding onto limiting or untrue narratives. Reflection and introspection. Taking time to contemplate your experiences, values, and goals to gain deeper insights into your true self. Questioning societal norms, which means evaluating external expectations and considering whether they align with your genuine values and desires. And lastly, embracing vulnerability. Being open to exploring uncomfortable aspects of yourself and acknowledging potential areas for growth and change. And so, dear listeners, ask yourself, are there shadows in your life that you mistake for reality? What truths might lie beyond your current understanding? To seek enlightenment is to embrace courage, curiosity, and the willingness to grow, even when it's difficult and unpopular. Thank you for joining us on this journey of Plato's Allegory of the Cave. Like and subscribe below for more spiritual transformative information. May your path toward enlightenment be filled with discovery and wonder. Until next time, take care and continue onward and upward toward the truth of the infinite creator. Namaste.